How we doing out there, folks? It's Elijah Griffith with my special guest on the phone right now. Welcome on, Mr. Cole Chaney. Cole, how's it going today, brother?
It's going very well, man. How are you doing?
Buddy, I'm doing good. Staying warm. It's warming up a little bit here in the bluegrass, and you said you're home for a little bit, right?
Yes, sir.
That's good, man. It's always good to be home. I've been following you here lately, man, and you've been all over the place, it seems like.
Yeah, I've been a little bit everywhere in the past few months, especially. Been taking it a little easier since the new year started. COVID kind of took its toll on the earliest part of the year, and I figured that would be a good time for me to kind of pump the brakes a little bit and try to take some time to keep working on this record that I'm trying to write right now. And so we've just kind of been hanging out at the house, and it hasn't been so hectic as it was last year, but it's been nice to just kind of chill out for a little bit.
Yeah, man, it does seem like that we're either getting used to it or stuff's getting back to normal a little bit. So on your travels here lately, man, have you been anywhere that you've always wanted to go that you finally got a chance to visit?
Yeah, actually, man, I just so pretty much anybody that has been following me for any amount of time knows that I'm a pretty big NASCAR fan, and I got to go down to Charlotte this past week and go hang out and play some shows with 49 Winchester. And Charlotte is kind of the hub of the country for NASCAR, so it was really cool to go down there and get to see Charlotte Motor Speedway and all the team centers like Hendricks Motorsports and all that stuff. It was really cool. Something that I've always wanted to see. Now I just need to go down there and watch a race sometime.
Yeah, man, I was raised on NASCAR myself. I've always wanted a chance to go down there and visit the museum. Did you get a chance to check that out while you were down there in Charlotte?
No, man, I did not have that much time on my hands, but I intend on making my way back down there sometime in the near future to go and do all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think that if I'm not mistaken, the original Dale Earnhardt car is there in the museum, and man, I would dig to see that, and I know that you would too as well, man. I'm pretty jealous of that wicked awesome Dale Earnhardt shirt that I see you wearing all the time. Where'd you get that at, man?
So I think you're talking about the pit jersey that I was wearing at Laurel Cove. That's actually my dad's pit jersey that he got at Bristol, and I believe it was either 97 or 99. And he had one that went with it that he had the entire crew of Earnhardt's to sign, and somehow it got lost. And I'm like, how did you lose that, man? But
man.
But he gave me that, and I keep it with me, and I wear it on occasion because I don't want to screw it up or anything. But yeah, I love that shirt.
Man, I'm so jealous of your dad getting to see a legend like that live. You know, I mean, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, he was a huge. That's the reason I'm such a big NASCAR fan. And I think that really is the case for most NASCAR fans. You don't see necessarily that many new fans in the sport, and unfortunately, it is kind of a dying out fan base. But I think the people that do watch NASCAR were more than likely raised watching it from their parents.
Yeah, but I think that it's kind of starting to get a comeback here in the South. I don't know how this movement started, the Raise Hell, Praise Dale movement that's going on right now. I don't know where that started, man, but I think that is, slowly bringing back people's momentum into getting back into NASCAR.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. I've always, I've been pretty much a diehard fan, and I've, went through the sluggish years of watching the crappy racing and stuff like that. But I enjoy watching it so much that I really don't care how it is. I'm going to watch it anyway. But in the past couple of years, it has definitely gotten a lot better than it's been in years past. And I think that they're starting to make a lot of moves to attract the public eye a little more. Like, I don't know if you were paying any attention this past week, but they held the Busch Clash, which is normally held at Daytona in Speed Weeks. They held that out in L.A., and they built a quarter-mile track inside the L.A. Coliseum, and they ran the cars on that, and they got a bunch of new fans out there, so I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've seen they released a video online about how they went about building the track. I thought that was pretty fascinating to watch. But man, I thought that Bristol was small, and then after seeing that track, I was like, goodness gracious, what was the top speed? 20 miles an hour? But hey, they got it done, man. And like you said, that kind of getting that newer fan base. Who would have thought they'd be doing a race like that out there in LA? But hey, I'm glad they did it.
Well, it's kind of like the stuff they were doing back in the 90s, like when they went over to Japan and did that exhibition race over there. I think that's kind of stuff that is going to win back the hearts and minds, and that's really what they need to do, I believe.
Or just take it back to the really old days and put some moonshine in the trunk or something like that and get Johnny Law behind him and really see how fast them cars can go.
Yeah, right. They turn them loose, I bet.
So is Dale Earnhardt your favorite driver, or do you got a favorite driver going right now? Mine's always been Mark Martin. I was always a big fan of him.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, it's kind of funny. My papaw Jim, he was always a big Mark Martin fan, and my dad was always a big Earnhardt fan. So that was kind of a big rift between them because, you got Mark Martin, who's a squeaky clean driver, and then Dale Earnhardt, who pretty much believed that, if you were in front of him, then you were in the way. So, yeah. I like both those guys, and like, I don't really necessarily even have a favorite driver now. I'm just kind of an enthusiast of the sport. I like to watch it. I like Kyle Busch. I like his driving style a lot. Chase Elliott, of course, and Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney's actually a pretty big music fan too, so I think that's pretty cool. He's had Arlo McKinley on his. He did some kind of like podcast or something with Arlo McKinley, and he's vouched for Tyler Childers a few times too, and I thought that was pretty cool, man.
Oh, man, I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out. I'm a big Arlo fan too, man. He's got some great stuff.
Yeah, he does.
But man, speaking about music, I've been a really big fan of your latest record, Mercy. To me, dude, there's not one bad song on that album, and I'm excited to hear you're working on new stuff too. But whenever it comes to Mercy, I know that it has the title track and everything, but how did you come up with the name Mercy for that project? Like, where does all that come from?
So actually the name Mercy came from the company that owned the hospital that my mom worked for, and they shut that hospital down, and that was kind of, a little bit of a double meaning there, kind of like in the way of not showing any mercy or any care or whatsoever, and then at the same time, just kind of straight up calling them out, and that was, the meaning behind that whole thing. But yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that they didn't think that there was a weak song on that album, and that's really, what I'm kind of working for with this next album that I'm writing and in the middle of writing, because I'm somebody that's not going to put anything out that's not better than my previous work in my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm always going to be trying to one-up myself, and I'm not going to turn anything loose until I believe that it is truly better than my previous work. So it's taken me a minute, and I'm trying real hard on it. But what stuff I do have worked out right now is some pretty good stuff, in my opinion.
I appreciate that you're taking your time with it, man, because in my opinion, I think that that's why a lot of these songs that are coming out today that people call hits are only a hit for, a week or two. But,
exactly.
People aren't really taking the time. It's just this cookie cutter process of music that seems to be going on nowadays. But whenever it comes to Mercy, do you have a favorite song off that album? Like fans, they always have that one favorite tune. But is there a song on there that kind of sticks out to you that means a little bit of something?
Man, I mean, they all have a meaning to me. I think it depends on the day, really, on feeling that day, because I'm somebody that's not going to write any kind of song unless I know something about it, and it means something directly to me, or somebody that I know that I'm writing, a secondhand story about, and so they all really, I'm kind of attached to all those separate stories and the meanings and underlying tones and all those songs, but I think probably the one that I hold nearest and dearest to my heart is Coal Shooter, just because it's written about my papaw Chuck and the things that he had to endure as a young man.
Man, that's pretty crazy that you say that, because Coal Shooter is actually my favorite tune off the album. Yeah. That's one that I relate to a lot too, because my dad, he went through similar things that you sing about in that song. Yeah. And you know what you and other Appalachian artists are doing that have a far reach with their music, you're bringing these tales of mountain culture to folks that may not be too familiar with what you're talking about. So for folks out there that may not know what a coal shooter is, kind of explain it to them a little bit.
So now, today, obviously, the safety standards are much higher than they were back then. Back then, I don't believe there was much of a safety standard. It was if you made it out with all your fingers that day, you were doing pretty good. But essentially, that job for him entailed going into these coal rooms and drilling holes all the way around the room, really deep into the walls of the mine, and dropping these sticks of dynamite down these holes and staggering the lengths of the fuses so that they could be lit one by one all the way around the room with a torch. And so you'd do that however far back in the mine you may be, and light those, and then you'd have to run all the way back out of the mine before they exploded and blew all that coal to Kingdom Come so they could come in and dig it all out.
It is crazy to think that, you know, our ancestors had to live lives and do stuff like that. You know, it's amazing that we're even here today. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's the same generation. Well, not the same generation, but it's, you know, this is like the generation right after the people that were storming the beaches of Normandy, and, you know, the people that were fighting in World War II and stuff like that. And it was just a different breed of people back then. They were so tough, and they had to do these things that people nowadays can't even fathom doing, and they didn't even think twice about it, because that was just what you did back then. You know, we lived very cushy and nerfed up life because of how hard the people like that lived, and I think that they deserve to be thanked and tributed to every chance that you get, because if it wasn't for folks like that, then we wouldn't be living so well.
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. You know, it's crazy to think just how badass people were back in the day. You know, it really makes you thankful for that, you know, nerf life that you're talking about right there. But, you know, I think that also that attitude, that grit has stemmed its way from the coal mines to the music that is being produced in this bluegrass state. Like so many people that I know of in different states, they ask, like, why is it Kentucky? Why is it, you know, these mountains that are producing this much talent? And I think that, you know, that attitude of do with what you got and do it the best you can. I think that attitude that our ancestors had is now making its way into this new world and to the music that we're listening to.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think our culture here, and not just specifically Eastern Kentucky, but, you know, the blue collar region as a whole, you know, the whole hard worker attitude is bred into a lot of us at a very young age. And I think that's why you're seeing, you know, your people like Tyler Childers succeed so well, is because they're just willing to outwork everybody else. And, you know, whenever you got songs that are decent, you know, if enough ears hear them, eventually, what's the option other than for it to eventually blow up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I totally agree. Was Tyler a big influence on your style, man? It does seem like it in some tunes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't see how it couldn't be. You know, coming from not the same place, but similar places. I mean, I believe he is from Paintsville, and I'm the closest to Ashland. That's where people would know the best. But my hometown is Catlettsburg, Kentucky. But of course, you know, seeing somebody like that blow up to such proportions really put it in perspective for me as a young man, and I saw it as, you know, if that guy can do it, then I think I probably can too. It's just a matter of, you know, figuring out the steps necessary to get myself to that point.
Yeah, man, I do think that he opened up the door for a lot of artists, and also it showed people that you don't necessarily need to go to a place like New York City or Nashville to live this dream. You know, you can do it by going to these little dive bars. And the path that he took, he didn't really take a traditional path whenever it comes to success in the music industry. And I think that that's helping a lot of newer artists realize that, hey, you know, it's possible to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. With the way streaming is set up now and things like that, you don't have to necessarily work through a label company or go down to Nashville and wait for the right set of ears to meet you. You know, that's kind of been my whole attitude this entire time that I've been doing this, is just getting out and playing the shows and building my own audience and building my own leverage. That way, when that day comes for me, if it does come, then, you know, I've got more leverage than your average Joe that might be picked up on the street that doesn't have any kind of fan base or anything like that, because at that point, you know, they have everything. You have everything to gain by getting with them, and you know, where's your leverage in that? You don't have any. And so, if you're already making a living as a musician and you're sitting pretty well and you're happy with where you're at, you know, then you have something to offer when you come to the negotiation table.
Exactly, man. And you've been doing a hell of a job doing it, too. Congratulations on the 2 million streams on Spotify, man. That's amazing. What was going through your head whenever you seen those numbers?
Man, it's very surreal. You know, for me, the goalpost is always moving. And, you know, I'm never really satisfied with where I'm at as a person or as a musician. Always trying to better myself, but when you see something like that, it definitely puts it in perspective. And you know, I think back to like 2 years ago, and I'm like, dude, if you'd have told me 2 years ago even that we'd be doing this well by now, I probably wouldn't have believed it. You know, not that I didn't think that I could do it. It's just, you know, I've been very, very fortunate and very blessed, and I've, you know, had some incredible people helping me out and doing favors for me just out of pure goodness, just not because they haven't had anything to gain, just because they're good folks, you know, and I really owe it all to the people that have helped me along the way.
Did you have a moment in your life when you realized, like, you know, this dream is possible? Like, did you like realize when things were starting to pick up? Was there a moment that kind of hit you?
Not necessarily. I mean, yeah. When we sold the Burl out, when me and Logan Halstead played at Burl, sorry, Logan Halstead, he gets mad when I call him Halstead, but I think it's kind of funny, so I do. But we sold the Burl out, and we did 500 tickets there, and that's kind of a big deal for two solo acoustic acts, you know, and when I walked out in front of that crowd and that many people were screaming at me and singing my songs right back to me, you know, it really was, I still have a hard time processing that, like that actually happened, and that's something that continues to happen. And you know, I'm just very, like I said, just very fortunate, and but I don't have any intention of stopping to smell the roses, though. You know, we're full steam ahead.
It's good to hear, man. Do you got any goals for your music career, or are you just kind of enjoying the ride?
I'll tell you what, me and Isaac Gibson of 49 Winchester had a good conversation about this a couple days ago. We were in Winchester, Virginia, and him and I sat down after 49's set had just finished up, and we were sitting there shooting the bull, and we got on topic of goals and stuff like that. And he made a good point, and I agreed with him and didn't even realize that I was doing the same thing as him. He said that he's never really had any goals, and that this is, you know, everything that comes after this, after being able to make a living off of your music, is all just bonus. And it's a matter of whether or not you want to go out there and get it for yourself. And I thought that was a very good way to put my feelings into words, you know. And I think something about Isaac that I really admire is he's a very articulate speaker as well. And, you know, he always seems to be able to find the right words to use in a situation, whereas I kind of struggle with that sometimes. So I really respect him as an artist and as a person, and I think our views align pretty well when it comes to things like that.
I like that, man. It's a simple way to sum up what the drive should be for any entertainer out there, I think. But like I said, man, I've really been enjoying your music, but I also really digged the artwork of the Ill Will Creek single.
Thank you, man. Ill Will Creek is a place on Dell Hollow Lake, which shares a border with Kentucky and Tennessee. It's actually split between the two states. And Ill Will Creek itself is 2 words. So Ill Will is 1 word, and Creek is the 2nd word. But when I wrote that song, I wanted to split it up into 2 words because I thought, it was a good way for me to kind of make it a little less easy to spot, But that is a aerial shot of the lake and that section of the lake, which is Ill Will Creek.
Very cool, man. Who done the artwork for you?
My mother, Andrea Sword. She does pretty much all of my artwork. Her and my stepfather, Scott Sword, they tag team all that stuff. He's a graphic designer, and she does most of the painting and the drawing and stuff like that. So, and that's where I feel like I draw most of my creativity from is my mom, because she's a real free flower, and she's kind of showed me through example my whole life of how to kind of get in touch with your artistic and your creative side.
That is awesome, man. I'm glad that you're able to work with your family that way. And I really liked watching you and your dad down there in Mississippi with Mossy Oaks. I like how you're taking your family along with you on this ride. Is that something that means a lot to you?
Absolutely, man. I wholeheartedly believe that you should give them the chance to, especially for your family. And, my family has done so much good for me over the years. And like I said, I've lived a pretty easy life up until this point. And so I feel like I should pay that back to them in any way possible. And if that means taking my dad down to Mississippi on a deer hunt with Mossy Oak, then so be it. That's one of the coolest things, if not the coolest thing that I've ever got to do in my life. And that's not something that him or I ever saw ourselves doing, I don't believe, because we sat there and watched how many hunting tapes together on the couch, and how many times did we sit there before the opening morning of gun season, sitting there watching videos of deer hunts and stuff like that. And just to think that we're in one of those now is pretty daggone cool, Dad, on that interview that they did with us, I was pretty impressed with how well my dad did speaking in front of the camera. I was like, daggone, old man, I didn't know that you had that in you. But he spun a pretty good web, I thought.
Yeah, man, I thought he was really good with his words there. Did your family play music? Is that kind of what got you started on this path?
I'm the only one in my family. When I started playing music, I was the only one in my family that played any music. Now, my younger brother, Bryce, has taken up the piano. But other than that, I believe him and I are the only ones in the family that really play any kind of music.
So what set off that spark for you? What made you go down that rabbit hole?
Man, my stepfather, again, he has been playing guitar, and he was a big influence on me. When I say my family, I'm talking about my direct family. Like, I call them, like on my mom's side, I call them my core 10, like my grandparents, my cousins, my uncles, mom and my stepdad. And then like over at my dad's house, because I grew up in a split household, obviously, talking about my step-parents. And then over at my dad's, talking about my dad, my stepmom, and my brothers. That's kind of my core family, and none of them ever played music. But my stepdad played guitar, just kind of, he was never real serious about it, but we would always mess around and stuff, and I always thought that was super cool. And so he had guitars that I could play, and so I started learning when I was about 13 years old, playing on his guitars. And then they got me a little crappy, electric guitar, and I started learning how to play some AC/DC and stuff like that, your real basic songs. And then just kind of moved on from there to taking it a little more seriously as I got older.
So what made you want to start taking it seriously? What was that spark like?
I can tell you when it started becoming a little more seriously for me was when females became involved, and I thought I might be able to get them to listen to me if I played real good and I could sing. But
Smart man.
Unfortunately, I never was that good at playing and singing in high school. I actually never even played in the talent show, believe it or not. But I started really trying hard when I started going to see I don't know if you've heard of the duo. I'm sure you have. Sunday Best.
Oh yeah, man. I just got off the phone with Chris, actually. Me and him are good buddies.
Okay. That's awesome, man. Well, they were a gigantic influence on me also because, again, kind of the same situation as with Tyler Childers. I saw these two guys from Prestonsburg, and I was like, well, man, if they can do it, I think that I can too. And I was like 15 years old when I went and saw them for the first time, and I remember that was a very influential moment on me. And I was seeing the way that they were directing the energy of this crowd of about 300 people, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I wanted to be able to do that. So that was when I really started, getting serious with my guitar playing and singing.
Man, I loved your cover of Painted Blue, by the way. They're on Red Barn Radio. That was absolutely killer, man. Is that one of your favorite Sunday Best songs, or do you got a favorite?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think, now that I've gotten older, I think I probably appreciate Nick Jamerson's solo stuff a little more than I do Sunday Best stuff, just because, from an artistic standpoint, I feel like that's a little more what I'm looking for. But back then, that was kind of bridging the gap from listening to, because I didn't know anything about all this music, other than a little bit of bluegrass that I'd been exposed to as a young man. But finding Sunday Best was kind of a good way for me to bridge the gap from mainstream music into finding all this local talent and, the Kentucky music scene, really.
Yeah, Nick's solo stuff is killer, man. Chris, too. It's crazy how talented those guys are. They're like the Beatles of Kentucky almost. Like, they're great as a whole, but even their solo stuff is still just as good. Yeah,
absolutely. I really enjoy. I think NJ, the album that Nick put out, is, in my opinion, probably one of my top 5 favorite albums ever. And that Star City Sessions one that he did is also really, really good. I've been listening to it a bunch again lately.
Yeah, I seen y'all doing the cover of Long Way to Wheelwright, man. I think that was an amazing cover y'all done. What was it like getting to play with Nick for the first time?
Well, that's the first time we've actually played like a song together in public. But we've done shows and stuff like that together before that specific show. But Nick knows I'm a big fan of his, and I've been for a long time. And we were back there in the green room at the Burl just hanging out, and him and I were just shooting the breeze. And he asked me if I wanted to do Wheelwright with him, and I was like, "What kind of question is that, dude?" Of course, I want to do that song with you. So we did, and it was awesome.
It's a beautiful thing to see music thriving here in Kentucky. And also, with them coming back, I think that we're about to see an explosion like none other here in Eastern Kentucky. What's the future looking like for you, man? What's 2022 looking like for Cole Chaney?
2022 is going to be, I believe, the focus that myself and my agent, Jesse Schuster, have been trying to put it on is bigger shows, trying to get on the bigger stages and play with, more well-known artists and things like that. And if that means playing a little less frequently, then so be it, because that gives me more time to sit down and try to write some songs, which is really, the purpose of this whole thing is to create, because you got to have material to play out in front of all these folks. So that's the plan. Like I said earlier, there's not really, I don't have any major goals or anything like that for this year. I'm just kind of playing it by ear and, going about everything with by way of feel.
Cole, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today, man. It's been a real pleasure. I'm loving all the new music, man, and I wish you nothing but success here in 2022. Absolutely. For the people that want to check out your stuff, though, man, where do they go to do that?
You can pretty much find it on any streaming service that you have. YouTube, I have a Red Barn radio session out that we did back in September of 2020. But the best thing to do would be come to a show and come hang out and come talk to me. That'd be great.
All right. Well, Cole, thank you again for the chat today, brother. I had a great time and looking forward to catching the show, man.
Yes, sir.